If you've ever wondered what actually qualifies as a short-term rental, you're not alone. The answer might seem simple, but the definition isn't always as clear-cut as you might think. What exactly is considered a short-term rental? It might sound obvious, but once you start looking at local laws, booking platforms, or insurance policies, the definition isn't always as clear as you might expect. In this video, we're breaking down what qualifies as a short-term rental, how it compares to mid-term and long-term stays, the different types of short-term rentals, and what hosts need to know to stay compliant and competitive. Let's start with the big question. What is a short-term rental? The simplest definition is a short-term rental, or STR, is any residential property that is rented out for short periods of time, typically on a nightly or weekly basis. These are often vacation homes, condos, apartments, or even just a room in someone's home. Most platforms like Airbnb or VRBO define a short-term rental as anything under 30 nights. But this isn't just a platform rule. Many local governments use the same cutoff in their regulations. That 30-night mark is important because once you go beyond it, different rules may apply. You might be looking at midterm or even long-term rental territory at that point. But remember, local definitions can vary. Some cities might define short-term rentals differently, so it's always smart to check your local laws before getting started. While 30 nights or fewer is the general rule of thumb, not every place or platform uses the same language. For example, some markets refer to these properties as vacation rentals. Others might call them transient rentals or short stay accommodations. Depending on where you are, you might also see terms like furnished tourist rental, temporary housing, or home sharing. The key takeaway here is that the name can change depending on who's doing the defining, whether that's a local city council, a rental platform, or even an insurance provider. And sometimes those differences in terminology can lead to a very different legal or tax implication. Understanding the specific language in your market can help you avoid misunderstandings and stay compliant. So how does a short-term rental compare to other types of rentals like mid-term or long-term? Generally, long-term rentals are properties leased for several months or even years. Think of a typical apartment lease where a tenant signs on for 12 months. Mid-term rentals fall somewhere in between. These are usually furnished rentals offered for periods longer than 30 nights but less than a year. They can often cater to traveling nurses, corporate relocations, or people between homes. Short-term rentals, on the other hand, are all about flexibility and high turnover. Guests stay for just a few nights or a couple weeks, and that turnover is part of what makes STR management so dynamic and potentially so profitable. It's also why STRs come with a different set of considerations, like cleaning frequency, guest communication, and seasonal pricing. Now that we know what qualifies as a short-term rental, let's talk about the different types of properties that fall under this category. STRs aren't one size fits all. They can range from a single bedroom in your home to a dedicated vacation house or a multi-unit apartment building where every unit is rented short-term. The key is that each one of these setups still falls under the short-term rental umbrella as long as the rental periods are short and the property is being used for guest stay, not permanent housing. Some STRs are owner-occupied part of the year and rented out when the owner isn't using the space. Others are full-time vacation homes managed specifically as rental businesses. Whether you're listing a cozy guest house behind your home or running a portfolio of downtown condos, if the stays are short, you're operating a short-term rental space. So what does all this mean if you're thinking about becoming a host or if you're already managing short-term rentals? First, always understand how your local city or county defines a short-term rental. That definition affects whether you need permits, what taxes you're responsible for, and what operational rules apply. Next, be clear on the platform rules. Airbnb, VRBO might define short-term rentals one way, but your lease agreement or homeowners association might define it differently. Make sure you know which rules apply to your situation. Finally, remember that insurance is another big piece of the puzzle. A standard homeowner's policy might not cover short-term rental activity, so it's critical to make sure you have the right coverage. These aren't just boxes to check, they're the foundation of running a successful and sustainable short-term rental business. Hopefully this video gave you a better understanding of what is meant by short-term rental. Ready to learn more? You can click the link in the description to learn even more about short-term rental vocabulary. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. We're here to give you data-backed insights and guidance you need to build a confident, successful short-term rental business. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you guys in the next video.